What is everybody? Cjeths here with a promised video where I will be reviewing every single prospect in the Ranger system. So this is going to be a long video. Basically, this is how I'm going to break it down. Got my little notebook right here. We're going to put prospects into 6 different tiers, right? So tier 1 is top guys, which means either top pair defensemen of the future or first line forwards. Okay, this is not going to be how the Rangers value them, just kind of what I see out of them from wherever they're at right now. Let me actually get a little more light in here. Okay. This is going to be like from my own assessment. Now, I'd be lying if I said I watched every single prospect in the Ranger system. That it just is not true. I've seen a good amount of them play, but not all of them. Okay, let's see, moving on. So, tier 1 is just top guys, all right? Tier 2 is middle 6 guys or defensemen that can float between top 4, top 2, top 6, kind of like up and down a little bit. Tier 3 is bottom guys, so bottom 6 forwards or bottom pair defensemen. Tier 4 is platoon guys, like your 7th defenseman, 8th defenseman, 13th and 14th forwards. Tier 5 is platoon wild cards, which are guys that may be platoon players, but could also just be good minor leaguers. And Tier 6 is non-prospects. So guys that have presumably, they will never play in the NHL. Almost a guarantee that they will never really accomplish anything. So, got that all set up. Got my handy dandy pen. The prospects are listed in no particular order, just whatever order they found them on, Elite Prospects. Got a lot of shit open right now. Okay. Is this capturing everything? Oh, OBS, where you at, buddy? Beautiful. All right, so, as you can see, I got a ass chunk of tabs open. Who is first? Adam Fox. Okay, Adam Fox, I think we can put tier 1. I think Fox would be considered tier 1 at this point. I don't see how his play hasn't been anything less than a tier 1. I think that's fair for Adam Fox. Adam Fox. So I got Fox in a tier 1. And it's kind of hard not to put him in tier 1. I'm actually going to go ahead and put my phone on airplane mode so I do not get disturbed. All right, so what do we see out of Adam Fox? I mean, he lit up college. I mean, not a big deal. I mean, he kind of just ate in Harvard, and he's got 11 points in 22 games as a Ranger right now. And he's eating up pretty big minutes at the moment. So it's not really much to say about Adam Fox besides the fact that he's a stud. And, yeah, he will probably fit in nicely in that tier 1 part. Okay, continuing on, Libor Hayek. I think Libor Hayek is... I think he's a lower-end tier 2 guy. I don't think he'll ever be a top 2 defenseman, but calling him top 4, top 6 guy that could sneak into the top pair. So we'll put Hayek into tier 2. I think that's fair for Hayek. I mean, he's still young, 21 years old. But since his first game of the season with the Rangers, he's been nothing short of just friggin' awesome. When he came up last year, he had those 5 games before he got hurt. He was unreal. And he's came back this season. He's actually played pretty well again. I mean, I wouldn't say he's unbelievable, but he's, for a kid his age and limited pro experience, I thought he's done quite well for himself. Not really much to dive into. Most of you guys already know who Libor Hayek is. He's in the NHL, damn it. All right. After Libor Hayek, Ryan Lindgren. Yeah, Lindgren I think is definitely a tier 2. As good as Lindgren has been, you can almost make the case for a tier 3 for Ryan Lindgren, but I want to hold out hope in that he might squeak into a top 4 defenseman one day. Probably not with maybe with the Rangers. We'll see how the rest of the pool jumps out. I mean, there's a lot of really good freaking defensive prospects on the Rangers right now we will look into. Ryan Lindgren's been freaking awesome. He's been nothing short of awesome. 5 points in 12 games. He's literally doing everything right now. Ryan Lindgren is a guy who could be anywhere between, maybe not tier 1, but he could be an upper level tier 2 or a tier 3 guy. I don't see how he does not have an NHL career ahead of him at the bare minimum. Yeah, Lindgren's freaking awesome. I love Ryan Lindgren. I hope he sticks around. Philip Hedl, I think, is tier 1. You're going to have a lot of tier 1 names on the Rangers right now. And that speaks more not to my bias as a Ranger fan, but because I just think that we have a lot of really top-notch prospects right now. And the way Philip Hedl's been playing, he seems like he could be a dominant player in the NHL at some point. 7 goals in 13 games so far this season. If he's playing a full season, 82 games, that's on pace for roughly 40 goals. So that's pretty freaking good for Philip Hedl. He took that demotion to the minors quite well in 9 points, 9 games, and has been pretty freaking awesome since. Moving on from Hedl, who do we got next? Brett Howden. I wouldn't say a tier 3 player off the rip, we'll put him as a tier 2 for now, but like a lower end tier 2 guy. I thought a little while ago that he could be a really, really, really good third-line center or a fringe second-line center at one point. But I think he's looking more like he's going to be just a good third-line center going forward. Probably a guy on a winning team. Maybe someday he'll be like a third-line center that could probably put in 35 to 45 points and play in all scenarios. I think that's what we're going to get out of Brett Howden. Yeah, he's been good so far this season. I mean, I wouldn't have given him a spot over Anderson well, maybe. I don't know. I like Brett Howden's game right now. He's doing well. Moving on from Brett Howden before I get into an argument. Kaapo Kakko, definitely tier 1. That's not even up for discussion. If he's not a tier 1 prospect, then no one is on this Rangers team. Yeah, Kaapo Kakko's freaking Kaapo Kakko. The kid's an absolute stud, 10 points, 20 games. He's a -13, but he's actually playing really well. I mean, he's been carrying lines himself this whole season, being a third line. Yeah, we already know about Kaapo Kakko. All right, Carl Henriksen. Carl Henriksen, I think would be fair to say right now is a tier... He's actually doing really well. We'll put Henriksen in tier 2. I think that's pretty fair. I think consensus right now is that Henriksen is kind of in the same boat as a Brett Howden. He probably will be in the NHL one day for sure. Whether or not he's a decent second-line center or a really great third-line center is up for grabs. Hell, he might even be able be a little bit better than that. We'll see how Henriksen continues to grow, but the Rangers Euro prospects are doing very well. I like Henriksen very much. I wish he was doing a little bit better than Alex Vaughn, though. All right, Hunter Skinner. I don't know. He's doing actually pretty well in the OHL. I think for Hunter Skinner, I would say he's a tier 4 platoon guy, to be completely honest with you. I wouldn't say he's a tier 5, because he's doing so well in London right now, which is kind of hard not to do well in London. But I don't see him as a tier 3 prospect where you can guarantee this guy will one day be in the NHL. I think tier 4 right now is fair for Hunter Skinner. He is doing well though in London. I feel like every day I'm reading more and more good stuff about him. So we'll see if he can get himself out of there. Yeah, Nico Gross, I'm really not sure about. Nico Gross is probably a tier 5 at this point, I'd say. I mean, he's doing well in the OHL. He's also 19 years old. And the Oshawa Generals, I'm pretty sure, are kind of stacked. Could be wrong. Yeah, they got Brett Newman, Alan McShane. Yeah, they got a good team. We'll see, though. We will see. Rangers got a lot of defensive prospects right now. I would put Gross. Put Skinner over Gross, but I don't know if Gross is on the same tier. Skinner. Vinny Lettieri, I'm actually going to go ahead and put in tier 6 right now. Well, I don't know. He might just be a non-prospect at this point. Like, I don't really think he serves much of an NHL future. I mean, guys like Boone Nieves and Kettinger are getting a call over him nowadays. If he was 22, I'd put him in tier 5. You know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll put him in tier 5. As a guy who just maybe could be a career platoon player in the NHL. But I think he scores so much in the AHL, it's more likely he spends a career in the AHL versus the NHL. Because he's more beneficial to an AHL team than he is an NHL team. Lauri Paginiemi, moving on, has had a friggin' offseason. Look at 12 goals. And yeah, I think Lauri Paginiemi at this point, I would feel comfortable putting him in tier 3. I think tier 3 is fair. I mean, he's in the league right now for TPS. Is he leading them in goals? I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, he's kind of running the scoring show right now for TPS. So, yeah, definitely I would say tier 3 right now for Lauri Paginiemi. No, I do not want to join the EP family at the moment. All right, Joey Keane, I'm going to put in tier 2. I think Joey Keane could have been in the NHL 2 years ago. But because the Rangers' defense is so crowded, they want him to develop and over-marinate, kind of like what the Red Wings do with their guys. Arguably a top defenseman in the AHL right now, and maybe the most valuable player on the Hartford Wolfpack besides Cjethsyt. So, yeah, Joey Keane's been an absolute freaking stud, so we're going to put him in tier 2 for now. Moving on, who is this? Matthew Robertson? Is that what I just saw? Yes, sir. Very underrated pick, Matthew Robertson. Probably should have gone in the first round of last year's draft. He's been pretty freaking good at Edmonton. Now Now, with that all being said, I don't think he's been standout enough to be higher than a tier 3, so we'll put him in tier 3 at the moment. Subject to change, though. Only because the Rangers' deep pool is so damn crowded, I don't know how I can put him much higher than that. For those of you that are confused why Hedel, Fox, Kakko, Hayek, Lindgren, Howden, all those guys are on this list, because I don't think... I don't know. I just think right now they're not fully developed yet. So that's kind of where I'm at. Stephen Fogarty, I think, is a non-prospect at this point. I think he's going to be our... Yeah, he's 26 years old. He's going to be our first tier 6 guy. Yeah. Stephen Fogarty, I don't see a future... I don't see his future in the NHL. I think he's a friggin' awesome AHLer. I think he's a great leader in Hartford. I mean, they're doing awesome things with him. It's nothing against Fogarty. I just don't think he will... I don't even think he's a platoon AHLer at this point. I just think he's just a good AHLer. Moving on from Stephen Fogarty. With that being said, I would like the Rangers to re-sign Fogarty. Danny O'Regan... What is he doing right now? He's actually doing really freaking well. But same thing. I don't think he's a prospect at this. I think he's a non-prospect. I don't even think he's a platoon player in the NHL at this point for Danny O'Regan. Moving on. Who is this? Nils Lundqvist. Okay. So Nils is getting depending on how well he continues to do in the SHL, right now I'm going to put him in upper level tier 2. If I could spell. Definitely, I think upper level tier 2. Could be a tier 1 someday. But he's killing it in the SHL right now. I feel like I'm reading about more and more good things about him every single day. And also, he's a year and 2 days younger than me. Interesting fact. Actually, no. He is 11 months and 2 days younger than me. Interesting. God, I'm getting old. Yeah. Yeah, Nils is pretty darn good. Well, I'm actually beginning to like that pick a lot. We'll see where Nils goes. But I definitely have him in a tier 2. Hopefully someday a tier 1 guy. Morgan Barron, I think, is another guy who's an upper level tier 2 guy at the moment. Guy's been on nothing but a tear since he's entered the NCAA. He got the most voted on by his peers, the most improved player and outstanding rookie in the NCAA for Cornell. Season after that, he led the team in scoring, and this year he is just taking off. I think he's gone 2 games without a point now, but he's El Capitan. I would not be surprised if he was in the AHL next season. Morgan Barron is definitely, well, maybe not upper level tier 2, but definitely tier 2. Zachary Jones is another guy who could maybe one day sneak into a tier 1. He's in his freshman year at I'm going to put freaking Zachary Jones in tier 2. A buddy of mine played with him in Richmond. My buddy was a year older than him at the time. But he was saying even though he was an undersized kid playing 16U, he was just dominant. Showed right there, 28 points in 19 games. Kid's a stud. Killing it NCAA for UMass Amherst. Kind of hard not to at UMass. But then again, at the same time, he's second on the team in scoring. So there you have it. Yeah, Zachary Jones is pretty darn solid. All right. Keandre Miller. Okay, so Keandre Miller last year, if you would ask me this question, I would have said tier 1. Right now, I'm contemplating putting him in tier 2, like an upper level tier 2. When he was kind of alone, I wouldn't say alone in Wisconsin, but he did pretty much carry the team's offense last season before he got hurt. This year, he's doing well. He's got 9 points in 14 games, but then again, he's got Caulfield and Turcotte ahead of him. I'm going to go ahead and put Keandre in tier 2 right now as an upper level tier 2 guy. Last year, I would have put him in tier 1, but right now, I've got him in tier 2. Let's see. Oh, Darren Radish. Darren Radish, I'll put in tier 5. I think he's definitely a wild card. Yeah, I don't think he's a guaranteed platoon guy in the NHL, but there's a chance he could be. I don't know how much the Rangers really value him at the moment in the NHL. He will be 24 before the season's end. Nicky Jensen. Love this kid. Wish things would have worked out better for him, but he's still in the Ranger system. You never know. He might just come back someday. Actually doing quite well for himself. His first year in the KHL, 37-54. His second year, 39-48. This year he's got 7-6. Nick Jensen, I'm going to put down as a tier 3. But I don't think he will be returning to the NHL anytime soon. But if he does, he'll definitely be a bottom 6 forward at the bare minimum. He's doing quite well at Helsinki. Moving on, Jacob Elmer. I'm going to put as a tier 5. Yeah, I'm going to put Elmer as a tier 5. There's a chance he might smack an NHL roster one day, but I'm really not too sure. He's done quite well for himself in EC. Did good with the Wolfpack. I'm going to keep him as a tier 5 now. I think next year we'll see him as a tier 4, but right now I got him as a tier 5. If he was 19, maybe. But he's 20. Okay. Timmy Cjeths, I think we'll put in tier 4. I don't see him, just because of his skating, not super fast and the way the NHL is going. I don't see him as a guaranteed bottom 6 guy in the NHL going forward. But I definitely think he could be a platoon guy in the NHL. And hey, he might just work his way into a tier 3 spot someday. He does have scoring ability that was in the OHL. We'll see what happens with Timmy Cjeths. I want nothing but the best for him. I think he's a good freaking player. I kind of miss him in the NHL. I wish the Rangers would have kept him around a little bit longer. All right, Simon Jelberg. Let's see. Don't really hear very much about Simon Jelberg. I think right now, I don't know enough about him to put him higher than a tier 5, like a platoon wild card. So I'll put him there. Hopefully someone can chime in and tell me why I'm wrong and why he should be a tier 1. But I don't know much about Simon Jelberg. Ty Ronning, yeah, Ronning's a tier 5 right now. Love Ty Ronning. I want him to get really good and make it to at least a tier 3 prospect. But right now, 22 years old. He's doing very well in the EC. Cannot seem to get it going in Hartford. I think it's fair to say that he is a tier 5 prospect at the moment, especially at 22 years old. He's an old man, right? Now, I think Ronning's good. I think Ronning could easily work his way into a tier 3. Hell, maybe even a tier 2 if he just takes that EC score and brings it to the end. Tarmo Reunanen. You never pronounce his damn name right. I think right now Reunanen is a tier 3. I think it's safe to say that he'll eventually crack top 6 pair somewhere in the NHL. He's a good enough skater. He's just a, let's see. Reunanen is an offensive-minded defenseman who can carry the puck, dangle through traffic, and set up his teammates. He's not a defensive line. Yeah, I think Reunanen, it's fair to say that he will one day be a top 6 defenseman in the NHL, whether it's with the Rangers or another organization. I think he's that good. So definitely tier 3 for you, Reunanen. Also, comment down below, what do you guys think? What you guys think of my ratings? What you disagree with? I want to hear back from you guys. There's no guarantee I'll be able to respond to everybody, but I do like to read the comments. Nonetheless, yeah, Ebert is a tier 4. I'm in tier 4. Jesus Christ, tier 6. He's a non-prospect at this point. He is nothing more than an AHL dude. Okay, Vitaly Kravtsov, I want to put in tier 1, but he's not even tearing it up in the KHL. Then again, Tractor is kind of bad. And everything I see about Tractor is that they're just a bad team. But he's not really popping off. I'm not seeing great highlights. Okay, I'm going to put Kravtsov in a tier 1. I think the Rangers see him as a future top guy in the organization. And I hope he is that. But I don't know. Maybe like a lower end tier 1 guy at the moment. We'll see where that goes. Tyler Nanny. Oofa. I think tier 5 at this point. Well, yeah, I think tier 5 at this point. We haven't seen enough yet. The Nanny I'll put in a tier 5. We'll see where that goes. I think he could work his way up to a tier 4 at the bare minimum. I mean, he's the captain of UMin, so he's got to be something. Sean Day at one point probably could have snuck into tier 2. I think right now Sean Day is looking more at tier 5 as a wild card to be a platoon player someday. He's not really going to get anywhere with the Rangers organization. We just have too deep of a system. So I'm going to put Day in tier 5. Again, tier 5 is not shitting on players. It's not calling them non-prospects. But it's calling them there's not a guarantee. If I put a player in tier 4 or higher, I'm basically saying that because I think they will be an NHLer someday. I got to get a sip of water. I'm almost giving you my guarantee that they will get games in the NHL in some capacity. Tier 5 to me is teeter-totter. They could play in the NHL someday, but I really don't know. So I'm not shitting on them. Shitting on someone would be putting them in tier 6 and saying, look, you're not a prospect. You're not going to be an NHL full-timer. From what I'm saying, I don't think you're going to be in the NHL. So I'm not shitting on Day or any of the guys I put in tier 5. I just don't think that, from what we've seen, that he's a guarantee for the NHL at any point. So I'm going to leave him there. Eric Cicciolini, the best name in the NHL, goes to UMin. Love Cicciolini, good old Italian boy. I think he's definitely a wild card too, coming out as a 7th-round pick. Cicciolini. Yeah, I got Cicciolini as a tier 5 at the moment. And again, too, tiers are interchangeable. Just because you're in a tier doesn't mean you're stuck there forever. Who knows? Maybe Cjethsyt comes in next year and just wins the freaking Hobie Baker. Then he moves up to a tier 2. You never know what happens. Jacob Ragnarsson. Yeah, this guy I really don't know. I don't know enough about him and haven't read enough about him to call him anything higher than a tier 5. But, yeah, we'll go tier 5. I don't think he's a non-prospect. I don't know if he's a tier 2, though. A tier 2. Jesus Christ, tier 4. I think Ragnarsson's a tier 5, yeah. Again, chime in. I don't know all these people. I'm just giving my objective. I'm literally letting you guys watch what I do. Like if I'm just bored sitting around like in class or something, I got nothing better to do, I'll just do this. Like I can't watch every single player in the Rangers system. It's freaking impossible. You gotta go on Twitter or follow like AJ Nuns and oh fuck, what's the other guy's name? I forgot his name. I know it's Man United, but that guy, I forget his freaking name. I feel so bad. I'm sorry, dude. But there are friggin' awesome guys. Even I can't pronounce his name. Aivis Kalnins. I definitely just butchered his name. He's not a Rangers guy, but he's just a great Euro prospect analysis dude. Those are guys you want to follow if you want in-depth stuff. This is just how I'm rating them based off what I see and hear about them. Right now, if I'm looking at Jacob Ragnarsson on Elite Prospects, what I'm seeing is a guy that's 20 years old, isn't a full-time SHL player. If he's a full-time SHL player and logging 16 minutes a night, like, yeah, he could definitely, I could see myself putting him in tier 4, but right now I don't see him anything better than tier 5. Let's see. Adam Edstrom, 6th round pick. I think Edstrom I'd put in tier 4. Edstrom. Consensus on him is that he'll be like a Jesper Fast-esque player. I mean, they're both taken in the sixth round. Now, granted, Edstrom is... Oh, yeah, so right there. Edstrom's a freaking unit. He's huge, but he skates quite freaking well for a big guy. I think he could be like a modern-day power forward when he does work his way over to the North American side of the pond. I think Edstrom is... right now, I put him in tier 4. Let's see. Who do we have this? Gabriel Fontaine. Love Gabriel Fontaine. I think he's got sick hands, but I think he's actually a tier 6. I don't see him as a wild card to make the NHL at any point. He just hasn't done enough in the AHL. I think he has friggin' awesome hands, and I enjoy watching him when I go to Wolfpack games, but I just don't see him. I don't see him as an actual prospect at this point. Like, I don't think the Rangers are leaning on him by any means. Patrick Newell. I think he's a non-prospect. Like, I don't think he ever has. I don't even think he's a wild card to make the NHL, to tell you the truth, unless he really just pops off. But I don't think he's going to. All right, Gropper. Yeah, Ryan Gropp, non-prospect. Guy has not shown up. I mean, literally drafted him 5 years ago, and he has not done anything. Besides, I don't know. It was after this year that there was thought that he should be in the AHL, like he should be ready for the AHL after this season. Then he gets sent back down to Seattle. Really doesn't have that. He has a better season, but not that. Like for an overager, a 20-year-old second-round pick, you kind of expected him to really go off. He just didn't. First year in the AHL, not underwhelming, not overwhelming, kind of right there. Second season, he's like, all right, platooned a little bit, and then he's just doing great in the EC last year. He can't get his shit together. Ville Meskinen, I think last year he would have been a tier 5 guy. Right now, Ville is definitely a tier 6. Yeah, he's a tier 6. Kind of hard to say he's got an NHL future ahead of him with the Rangers system right now. He did pretty good in the AHL last year. Off to a very slow start this year. Again, these are all subject to change, but I don't think Ville's gonna. I think he's heading back to the league after this season. I don't think the Rangers can re-up him. Elias Anderson. I think Elias is still a tier 2 prospect. Agree with me or not? I think Elias Anderson might be a middle of the pack tier 2 prospect. I think he could be I don't think he'll ever be a first line center in the NHL. I don't think he'll be that good. I hope I'm wrong. But I think he could be a good second line center and a great third line center. If he continues to grow, he's got 2 goals in 3 games so far with Hartford since being demoted. Then again, the sample size we got in the NHL with him this year, I really wasn't very much. See, I think Elias Anderson got the short end of the stick, not at the start of this season, but the start of last season. I think the 2018-2019 season, Elias Anderson had a freaking great camp, awesome preseason, and got beat out by Brett Howden. I thought he beat out Howden. Now, granted, Howden had a great start to last season, but I thought Anderson should have beat him out for that last spot. I don't know. I think it's a shame the way the Rangers have handled Elias Anderson. I think people get so caught up on the fact that he's a 7th overall pick. Like, look, this is what we have now, right? We would have drafted him 21st overall and flip-flop him and Hedel. It would be a different conversation. You can't get hung up on where he's drafted now. You got to get hung up on what can this player still become, right? And right now we got to look at Elias Anderson as a guy that hopefully one day can just be a good second-line center or a great third-line center. Let me ask you this question. If the Rangers win the Stanley Cup, do you give a flying fuck where on the roster Elias Anderson is? Do you give a rat's ass if Elias Anderson is the guy filling up the fucking water bottles of the first line center? No, it doesn't matter because the Rangers won a Stanley Cup, right? Would it matter to you if this entire roster on the Rangers right now when Thanos snapped wasn't a single fucking guy, but we somehow won the Stanley Cup this season? Because that's what matters, right? I mean, you root for these players, you want them to win and do well, or you root against some players, but at the end of the day, as Rangers fans, you want to see the Rangers succeed. Now, again, you get attached to players. You want to see certain players do well, maybe more so than others. But at the end of the day, the goal is for the Rangers to win a Stanley Cup. What does it matter if Elias is the 4th-line guy, the freaking towel boy, the trainer, the coach, the first-line center, the third-pair defenseman, 7th? What does it freaking matter if the Rangers win? It doesn't matter at this point. This is what we have. Get the hell over it. Don't freaking trade him. This is a guy you can win with. I don't know. I get so frustrated with guys not giving up on players. I don't think it's fair. I don't think anyone's necessarily giving up on Elias Anderson, but they write him off, and it's like, fuck him, whatever. He's a loser. Trade him. Like, get over it. All right, this is a guy you can win with. He plays his friggin' heart out. He plays with passion. I think he'll be a good leader one day. I think Elias Anderson will be a Ranger for the long haul. And I don't want. I just give the guy a break. He's just turned 21. All right, he's a piece of pop. And he was drafted 7th overall for a reason. Like I know, like he was drafted 7th overall. You want to see like friggin' Elias Pettersson, like absolute stud. But you don't just draft guys 7th overall because you're like, maybe. You don't. All right, the Rangers saw something at 7th overall. Maybe they didn't see him as a top pair guy, and that was consensus when we drafted him. We thought we were getting a second Derek Stepan, essentially. Maybe just better. I don't know. Maybe perhaps a better Derek Stepan. I don't know. But let's just. I'm getting caught up in my words. Let's be patient. It'll be okay. He's 21. Levi Oltinen. All right. I think Levi Oltinen, I'll put in tier. I think I'll put him in a tier. I think right now he's a tier 5, but he could definitely. I think he could work his way up to a tier 4 or tier 3, to tell you the truth. I could see Oltinen working his way up to a tier 3. Oltinen I always hear good things about, but I never get to see him play. He is in the Liga, but I don't think you can guarantee him an NHL spot someday. Yeah, so I think tier 5 right now, but I think Oltinen, out of anybody right now in tier 5, I think Gross, Ragnarsson, Cicciolini, Kjellberg, and Oltinen have the best chance of being bumped up. Kalle Stalin, definitely a slow grower. Holy, I can't freaking. This is what happens when I talk too much. Slow grower because of injuries. I like Stalin as. I will put him tier 5 for now. This is another guy that could probably bump his way up to tier 4 before even the end of the season, in my opinion. Again, Stalin's a guy I hear a lot of good things about, so we'll see what happens with him. Riley Hughes did really well in the BC last year. Oh boy, not doing so hot in the NC. Oh, God. Well, we're going to go ahead and put... I think Huser is... I think he's tier 5. And if you go through a lot of team systems, you're going to get a shitload of tier 5 guys. The fact that the Rangers have right now... Well, we'll do it at the end. Crawley, I like Brandon Crawley a lot. I think after I thought his first camp, he had a chance of making the team as a 7th defenseman. I thought their second camp he had a chance. Third camp, not so much. And that was this year. And I think Crawley is still a wild card to be a platoon player, but I wouldn't throw him in tier 6 yet, but getting close. I actually happen to like Brandon Crawley really a lot. I thought he played really well his first camp with the Rangers. I actually thought he had a shot at making the team. I thought he played that well. Lidl. I think he's a non-prospect at this point. I like Dawson Lidl, but I don't think he's got a shot at the moment. Jaeger Rykov, I'm going to put down as a tier... Ooh. I'm going to put him down as a tier 3 for now, until he gets healthy and we can see what he does in the AHL. Because we haven't seen him play North America hockey outside of Traverse City. That's when he got hurt. So we'll see what happens with him. I think he'll definitely be a top 6 defenseman in the NHL, though. I think easily fair to say that. Tyler Wall, pretty decent goalie. I think Tyler Wall. So I guess the way you'd rate goalies is tier 1 is like a franchise goalie, like a Lundqvist, Rene, Holtby, Carey Price level guy. Tier 2 would be middle of the pack starting goalies, guys that can just kind of get the job done. Now, before you rip me apart on a regular, like a middle of the pack goalie, like a Mike Smith or Varlamov, just guys that are like, if you see them in EA Sports NHL games, between 84 and 86 overall. Tier 3 would be like fringe starters, like really, really good backups, but not starters. Tier 4 would be definitely backup goalie at some point. Tier 5 is maybe will be a backup in the NHL someday. Tier 6 is like, no. I think Tyler Wall has a case to be... Yeah, he's doing really well in UMass. I mean, UMass is a good team again this year, but he's had 2 freaking awesome seasons now. I'm gonna put Tyler Wall as a tier 3, a guy that could be a really good backup in the NHL one day. I don't think we've seen enough for him to be a guaranteed starter, but definitely if he keeps it up this season, he might move in at tier 2. Yeah, that's what I like about Tyler Wall. Cjethsyt, I'm gonna put down as a tier 1. Especially with the way he's freaking played so far in the AHL. I mean, look at these AHL numbers. Is that not disgusting? A 927 and a 206 GAA. Cjethsyt's been freaking awesome. I mean, he's literally carried the freaking Wolfpack. I mean, the Wolfpack have been good, but Cjethsyt has been unreal. Huska's doing pretty well for himself, too. But yeah, Cjethsyt I would say is a tier 1 prospect right now. Olaf Lindbaum. See, it's hard to judge because I don't hear much or know much about Olaf. I think right now it's safe to say he'd be a fringe starter. From what I've seen about him, I don't think he's a guarantee he's a starter by any means. Brandon Halverson was also a second-round pick, and we saw what happened with that. So I think Lindbaum would be a tier 3 guy at the moment. And same thing with I think Huska's a tier 4. I think Huska could work his way into a tier 3, but I think he'll definitely be a backup maybe at some point in the NHL. No. I am putting Huska as a tier 5. I would not guarantee him a backup spot in the NHL someday. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, because even his college numbers weren't that great. Yeah, I think Huska's, it's fair to say he's tier 5. All right, so let's just do a quick breakdown. Rangers.nhl.com. All right, so quick recap. So in our tier 6, we've got Fogarty, Stephen Fogarty, Danny O'Regan, Nick Ebert, Gabriel Fontaine, Patrick Newell, Ryan Gropp, Ville Meskinen, and Dawson Leadall. In tier 5, we got Nico Gross, Vinny Lettieri, Darren Radish, Jake Elmer, Simon Jelberg, Ty Ronning, Tyler Nanny, Sean Day, Eric Cicciolini, Jacob Ragnarsson, Levi Altonen, Kylie Shalin, Riley Hughes, Brandon Crawley, and Adam Huska. And tier 4 platoon players in the NHL someday. I'm getting tired. I'm getting old. Oofa. We got Hunter Skinner, Tim Gettinger, and Adam Edstrom as tier 3 prospects, bottom 6 players in the NHL someday. I got Laurie Paginiemi, Matthew Robertson as a 5th or 6th defenseman, Nick Jensen, Tomo Reunanen, Jaeger Rykov, Tyler Wall, and Olaf Lindbaum. Tier 2 middle 6 prospects, Libor Hayek, Ryan Lindgren, Brett Howden, Carl Henriksen, Joey Keane, Nils Lundqvist. I'm going to put Georgiev in there. I know I forgot about him. Nils Lundqvist, Morgan Barron, Zachary Jones, Keandre Miller, and Elias Anderson. And tier 1 prospects, I got Adam Fox, Philip Hedl, Capo Kakko, Vitaly Krasov, and Igor Shesterkin. Go ahead, guys. You guys comment down below. Let me know what you think about how I rated our prospects. Let me know what you think about my system, because it's something I've been doing for a while now. I enjoy this system of the tier 1 through 6. Yeah, comment on your thoughts. Like, what do you guys think? Like, how I rated the players? Would you switch any players out? Would you put them in different tiers than I put them in? And go as in depth as you want. I mean, hell, I might even screenshot a couple of good comments and post them on my Twitter page. You never know. But until then, thank you. Ooh, excuse me, phone. Thank you very much. Until then, thank you everybody for watching. If you're watching, consider making it end. If you understood everything I said, you're not hearing aids. I may be doing longer videos like this in the future. Who knows? I'm probably going to do an analysis of every single NHL team through the first 41 games when that comes, maybe earlier. Who knows? Until then, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.